All right, my name is Zach Gillen, and this is my PLC Plan presentation for internship IL614 course. We talk about what a professional learning community is. People refer to them as PLCs, and Richard Dufour and his colleagues define them as ongoing processes in which educators work collaboratively together in recurring cycles of collective inquiry and action-based research to achieve better results for students that they serve. So what that means in a nutshell is that all stakeholders involved in schools, they collaborate together in this ongoing cycle to try to ensure student achievement is ongoing in their schools. So PLCs, they're something that people have been trying to implement in the past for several years. And sometimes they fail because these schools will implement them initially, and there's a lack of commitment, there's a lack of ongoing monitoring. There's just issues from within that cause a PLC to fail. So if you want a PLC to be effective, you must be very committed to the entire process for PLC. So why would you implement a PLC? PLCs serve many purposes. They are teacher teams working together to improve teaching and learning. The second bullet point here is very significant. They can reform. Anytime you reform something, you're changing something in existence to try to make it what? You want it to improve, you want it to become better. So you try to change schools for the better in a positive manner. When they are developed and implemented the right way, PLCs can achieve this. They allow for teachers to be team members and in turn effective instructors. So if a team member, a PLC team member, such as a teacher, is committed to the operation of this PLC, everybody else, it's not just a teacher, administrators, counselors, if everybody has a full level of commitment, it will cause teachers to buy into the process, and in turn, they'll be more effective in their instruction. More effective teachers in their instruction will cause student achievement, or student engagement rather, to go up, and if you've got to engage students, achievement gaps will shrink and things of that nature. So it is a domino effect as far as commitment is concerned. So full commitment to the process of the PLC will drive school improvement, and that's what the overall goal of education is to continually improve student achievement. So at this particular school, Sardis High School has roughly 540 students. Demographically speaking, we're majority Caucasian, and you can see the numbers there of minority student population. 31 faculty members, most of those have greater than 5 years experience. I think it's 84% have at least a master's level degree or higher. 17 females, 14 males at Sardis High School faculty. So what is the problem? Why would this school need to implement a PLC? So based on standardized testing data, STAR testing data, achievement scores in general, and reading are low. There's an achievement gap there between your high achievers and your tier 3, tier 4 students. They just don't achieve as well as the higher learners in the reading subject area. On the ACT reading portion, spring 2018 ACT test, only 18 students that took that test met benchmark on the ACT reading portion. 13% is what that correlates to. That number is down from years past. It's below district level, it's below national level. So there's an achievement gap identified or embedded within that number between those high learners and the low learners in reading. So we need to try to shrink the gap with reading. So, how do you implement a PLC? Well, certain people have to take on certain responsibilities or duties from within. So you have a curriculum team that will coordinate PD sessions for the teachers. The teachers need to go into targeted professional development to try and curtail their instructional practices to make them better or more effective instructors or teachers. The administration will develop this plan for teachers to meet collaboratively with other teachers or members of the community. That is something that will take some thinking. How can we create collaboration time? How will that be funded? Things of that nature have to account for that. The administration will take on that duty. Counselors will devise plans for student intervention. So based on how you score individually as a reading test taker on the ACT or on STAR reading data or whatever, all sorts of data will be compiled to figure out what type intervention sources you need or resources that you need. The teachers themselves, they're going to monitor progress throughout this whole cycle And again, it's not a one-time circle that comes full circle at the end and you drop it and you see how you did. It is an ongoing cycle that takes full commitment. If you don't have full commitment, it will fail. The PLC will not be efficient. Teachers will also partake in multiple PD sessions to try to ensure that they are doing everything they can to align the curriculum, to ensure best practices with their instruction, to be diverse in the way they deliver their instruction. The PD will target those areas to try to increase student engagement, which will increase student achievement, which will shrink achievement gaps. The leadership team will be designed and they will assign at-risk students to specific teachers for small group instruction. So your at-risk student population, those students will be assigned to specific teachers. They will meet. That'll have to be coordinated by the counselors to figure out when these students will meet with these teachers for small group instruction, your at-risk students. Those are your tier 3, your tier 4 students who are low achievers in reading. All stakeholders, everybody involved with the PLC, teachers, administrators, counselors, a select group of students, they will all communicate together, collaborate with one another to figure out, what are our goals, what expectations or what standards do we want to try to achieve with this professional learning community. So those are your duties for this PLC. Strategies. Teachers implement strategic teaching strategies daily. Content-based collaboration groups will meet multiple times throughout a grading period. Your overall goal here is to try to collaborate with people in your same subject field. Reading can be mastered for your reading teachers, your content area, just teaching across the curriculum in general. Social studies teachers can target reading heavily. Even math teachers can work on reading comprehension skills with solving of certain word problems in mathematics. Participation in targeted professional developments to shrink these achievement gaps is mandatory for teachers, counselors. Those are the members of the leadership team, everybody involved that is a stakeholder of this PLC. You will open your lessons with student-friendly objectives as teachers. So the objective should be something the student can read and understand, hey, what is our goal or our initiative for today's lesson? You will establish a purpose for that lesson. Utilize various strategies to explain that lesson. Again, those things can be honed or fine-tuned through professional development. Lesson plan alignment to the course of study. And small group instruction with identified at-risk students that have been assigned specifically to you as one of the duties I talked about on the last slide. So those are your strategies for plan implementation. Will it be successful? Here are some indicators of PLC success. Collective efficacy will improve among the staff. So collective teacher efficacy is everybody's rowing the boat in the right direction. We don't have people tugging one way and another way. Everybody's got one main goal, one vision. That is teacher efficacy at its finest when it's working. And you are trying to achieve one main objective, ongoing school improvement. The specific thing we're targeting is the achievement gaps in reading. Teachers will become leaders if they get committed. Student engagement will be on the rise if teachers are committed. PD practiced will be implemented instead of forgotten. So actual implementation of what you learned during your professional development, you will actually take that back to the school and use it. And assessment data will reveal whether or not we've got concept mastery in reading, whether or not we are improving. So those are success indicators of PLC. Timeline. Due to the nature of this assignment, I'm making this look like this might be started in the spring semester. November is our start time. 2019 teachers will receive collaborative groups and meeting schedules to get together and collaborate with one another. Students will be STAR tested in reading, math as well, but we're targeting reading here. An intervention plan for students will be created. The counselors will assign these at-risk students to specific teachers. All that happens in the month of November. The intervention plans will be altered or modified accordingly as needed. Also worth mentioning is STAR testing will take place again in the spring to see if there's any correlation or any change in how the students scored. Now, STAR data can be skewed a little bit, based on whether or not those students actually actively tried to do well on the STAR test. Sometimes you can look and it took them 7 or 8 minutes, sometimes it may take them 30 minutes. You can tell by looking at the STAR data whether or not that's accurate, a representation of their achievement based on how long they took to take the exam. An ongoing timeline, teachers will participate in targeted PD ongoingly through this cycle, as needed basis. Also ongoing, STAR data will be collected and shared with the teachers so that they can alter their instruction or their small groups or whatever may be needed to ensure that they're delivering the best practices for every single individual student. Because you're trying to create an equitable opportunity for everybody, not just your high learners, okay? How will this be monitored? Progress monitoring for this PLC. Meetings will be scheduled at the end of the school year to discuss the effectiveness. Hey, did it work? What was terrible about it? What was great about it? What might need to be changed? Things of that nature will be handled during this type meeting. That summer, you will meet to discuss standardized test results to review or change or alter or reform the PLC plan going forward for the following year, because this is an ongoing cycle. Administrative walkthroughs will also take place during the school year to monitor the teacher duties and strategies. Are they being implemented like they should be? STAR data is also a monitoring tool, and staff surveys at the end of each school year as you implement your PLC will take place, and that is designed to identify the strengths, weaknesses, or concerns of the particular PLC plan. So again, this is an ongoing cycle. We're trying to increase student achievement. We're trying to shrink our reading gaps on standardized tests and just on everyday testing or everyday assignments. We're trying to get our low achieving reading scores up for all of our students throughout this PLC. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.